San Francisco is about to see its biggest development in decades. We're talking 7 to 8 million square feet, 2,500 new homes, and a tower that's 850 feet tall. In today's video, we're going to talk about the complete transformation of Caltrain's Railyard in SoMa. Most people don't even know this is happening, so you're going to get the inside scoop. We're going to cover 5 main things today: what's being built, who's behind it, the timeline and phases, how this connects to the downtown extension, and what this means for real estate. Let's get into it. To begin, let's talk about what's being built. The Caltrain Railyards redevelopment is a 20-acre project in SoMa on 4th and King Street in San Francisco. Right now, it serves as a rail yard and temporary Caltrain station that has been operational since 1975. If you've ever been there, you know it's not much to look at, but it is functional. The firm behind this all is Prologis, who filed an application in March of 2026. What they are proposing to do is massive. At scale, we're talking about 4 million square feet of office space, 2,500 new homes built, retail, potentially a hotel, and a completely redesigned Caltrain station. The centerpiece here is the 850-foot tower at 4th and King. For context, that's taller than most buildings here in San Francisco, other than some in downtown and the financial district. At the base of this tower would be the Caltrain station itself. That means that you can literally step off of the train and be in a mixed-use building. Once done, it will have offices, apartments, and retail. Around the tallest building, there will be several other tall buildings, all ranging from 350 to 600 feet tall. Really, you're getting a cluster of high-density towers, all connected with public spaces. The public space here is one of the biggest selling points. The plan calls for 4 acres of parks, plazas, and promenades. Upon completion, there will be a promenade on Townsend Street, a public plaza at 5th Street, and a park at 6th Street, which will be called the 6th Street Park. The park will sit at the top of a new overpass where the trains will begin to go underground, but we will get more into that later. The idea here is to open up the site and connect it to the urban grid. Right now, the rail yards are a complete dead zone, so this will change everything. Prologis has released quite a few design variations. One is more residential heavy, while the other is more commercial heavy. The final mix will depend on market conditions and city approvals. Overall, the vision is dense, mixed use, transit-oriented development with world-class public spaces. When I looked at the renderings, it looked like a European train station district. Curious to get your thoughts on what it looks like. As you'll be able to tell, it features wide sidewalks, trees, outdoor seating, modern architecture. It's a far cry from the current rail yard. By the way, if you don't know who I am, hi everyone, my name's Epstein, and I'm a lifelong San Franciscan and realtor here in the Bay Area. If you're thinking about buying, selling, investing, or even renting a home in or near San Francisco, I'd be more than happy to help you. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me at my contact information below. And with that being said, thanks for watching, and let's get back into the video. And next, we're going to talk about who's behind this project. As I briefly mentioned earlier, Prologis is the lead developer here. They're one of the biggest logistics and industrial real estate companies in the entire world. They're best known for owning warehouses that companies like Amazon lease. So for them, this is a big shift. They're going from industrial real estate to a massive urban mixed-use project in San Francisco. Prologis has owned the Railyards property for years. From the outside looking in, it seems as if they've been holding on to it and waiting for the right time, which seems like it's coming up now. What stands out as important to me is that a lot of developers have pulled out of San Francisco in recent history. Office vacancy is high and construction costs are brutal right now. With that being said, Prologis is here and seems to be ready to bet big on San Francisco's long-term future. Now, Caltrain is also a partner in this project. They own part of the land and they will be managing some of the infrastructure updates that need to happen for this project. Luckily, the transit agency has said that they don't expect fare increases as a result of this project. They also said that service continuity is a top priority during construction. Caltrain sees this as a way to generate revenue, improve the station, and support long-term ridership. To fund this project, Prologis has claimed that they will use a variety of capital options. For vertical development, they will be using private and institutional capital. For infrastructure and transit improvement, they will be using public funding. We don't quite know the breakdown yet, but for a $7 billion project, this will obviously require a ton of funding. Think pension funds, institutional investors, and potentially some public subsidies or tax incentives. Now let's talk about the timeline and phases. Given that the application was submitted in March, The city is now on the clock and needs to respond to Prologis by June. The decision the city has to make is whether they are ready to move forward with environmental review. After that step, they have to win approval from the Board of Supervisors as well as Caltrain's board. And lastly, Caltrain expects the entitlement process to take about 2 years. So really, we're looking at approvals potentially during 2028. Now let's get into the phases of construction. The first phase would include 2.5 million square feet of construction, mostly along 4th and 7th Street. That would include the 850-foot tower with the Caltrain station at its base and one additional adjacent building. If everything stays on track, construction can start by 2028 or 2029. But really, that's optimistic because we live in San Francisco. And for those of you that don't know, approvals here take a long time, lawsuits happen, and financing can fall through. Now let's talk about phase 2 and beyond. The rest of the project, like the additional towers, parks, and promenades, won't take place until the Portal project is done. The Portal is the downtown extension of Caltrain. It aims to take tracks underground from 4th and King to the Salesforce Transit Center. That project has an estimated cost of over $7.5 billion with an estimated completion date of 2035. So realistically, this project could easily take 15 to 20 years. This is a multi-decade project. Right now, Caltrain ends at 4th and King. The train tracks sit above ground in the rail yards. You obviously can't develop on top of active train tracks, so the first phase will work around existing infrastructure. Once the Portal is built and the trains go underground, that will free up a massive amount of land space. That's when the full vision becomes a realistic possibility. Think cluster towers, public parks, and pedestrian promenades. So the timeline for this project is really tied to the Portal project. So if Portal gets delayed, this project will too. If you know anything about construction, delays are commonplace. Next, we're going to speak about how this connects to the Portal. The Portal, aka the downtown rail extension, aims to create a new underground station at 4th and Townsend. The idea here is to bring the trains underground and connect it to the Salesforce Transit Center. Right now, there's an underground platform underneath the Salesforce Transit Center, which is currently empty. The site was built in anticipation of the high-speed rail arriving. However, the funding to connect it never came through. So really, you have this massive unused infrastructure sitting there not being used. The Portal would finally connect it. It would also set up San Francisco to eventually accept California high-speed rail, which may eventually connect San Francisco to Los Angeles. Right now, the funding for the estimated over $7.5 billion project has not been secured. The agency behind the Portal is trying to bring in local partners to piecemeal together the funding. It's a heavy lift, but Trans-Bay Point Housing Authority is trying their best. They're working with federal, state, regional, and local partners. If both projects get built, you're looking at a completely new, reimagined, and different SoMa. You'd have a high-density, mixed-use neighborhood anchored by world-class transit. That level of transit connectivity does not exist in the San Francisco today. It's exactly what the doctor ordered if the city wants to compete with other metros in today's environment. Now, lastly, we're going to talk about what this means for real estate. Now, let's talk about what 2,500 new residential units would mean for San Francisco. The city is required to build over 82,000 new housing units by the year 2030. Right now, at large, new construction is basically stalled. Rising costs, office vacancy, and uncertainty has caused developers to stall or go elsewhere. If 2,500 new units actually were to get built, it would mean meaningful new supply to our market. Obviously, it won't completely solve the housing crisis in San Francisco, but it would be a huge help. Keep in mind that many, if not most of these units will not be affordable. We're talking about luxury development in one of the more expensive parts of the city. Expect market rate condos and rentals that serve a higher income demographic. If the project gets built, it's going to change the dynamics of SoMa, Potrero Hill, and Mission Bay. Right now, some say that 4th and King Street feels kind of dead. It serves as a Caltrain station, but nothing really else. Mission Bay has UCSF and some condos, but still feels somewhat disconnected from the rest of the city. A project like this with offices, retail, restaurants, and parks would essentially create a new neighborhood. It would bring amenities and therefore foot traffic, which will make all the surrounding neighborhoods more attractive. If you own a property in one of the neighborhoods we just talked about, you're in good shape. Major infrastructure properties like this tend to increase property values over time. Why? Well, the reason is simply because you're adding jobs, retail, housing, and public spaces. You're making the neighborhood more walkable and livable. You're also improving transit, which all of these leads to a great increase in demand. Now, there is a flip side, which is construction. This can easily last a decade, if not more. During it, you're going to have noise, dust, street closures, and disruptions. Theoretically, that could suppress prices in the short term. But long term, once the project is complete, you're looking at a more valuable part of the city that is well connected. Now, the plan does include 4 million square feet of office space, which is quite a lot, especially in a city that has had vacancy rates in the 30%. So the big question here is who is going to lease that space? Prologis is betting big that by the time this project is complete, there will be a demand. That's the risk with a project this big and this long term. In 10 years, the market could look completely different from now. If you're a buyer or seller looking at one of these neighborhoods, pay special attention and keep a close eye out. It's going to shape the future part of this city. If you're a renter, this could eventually add supply and put a downward pressure on rents. Regardless, this won't be for years and it won't be at the affordable end of the market. If you're a homeowner in these areas, this is probably good news for you long term in terms of property value. Okay, so to recap, the Caltrain Railyard development is projected to be a $7 billion project with over 20 acres of space and is going to completely transform the SoMa district and 4th and King Street. It will consist of 7 to 8 million square feet of development, an 850-foot tall tower, a completely redesigned Caltrain station, and 4 acres of parks. The timeline is looking like 15 to 20 years, with phase 1 beginning in 2028 or 2029. The full build out heavily depends on the portal project, which has an estimated cost of over $7.5 billion and isn't expected to open until 2035. If both projects get built, you're looking at a completely different SoMa district. More dense, more connected, more walkable, and more livable. This is the biggest development San Francisco has seen in decades. Okay, so that's gonna do it for this video. If you stayed all the way through to the end, thanks so much for watching. It would mean the world to me if you could like, comment, and subscribe. The best way to support me and my channel is to actually share these videos with others that you might think like this content. With that being said, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.